The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma. Ivanishvili claims that $5 million loan issued in June 2015 by Cartu Bank to Georgi Bacheshvili's company was used by Bacheshvili to make a successful investment in cryptocurrency mining, resulting in a significant amount of profit in the form of bitcoins. Prosecutor Sadradze stated that the charges involve the misappropriation of 9,000 bitcoins valued at $949 million at current market rates. According to Bacheshvili's lawyers, the case is absurd as the loan agreement did not pertain to profit sharing, but was a standard banking loan. Bidzina Ivanishvili has also filed a lawsuit against the Swiss bank Julius Baer, alleging that the bank extended U.S. sanctions to his family members and the companies they founded. Bidzina Ivanishvili's wife, Ekaterina Khvedelidze, established a new joint stock company in Georgia called Lusoli. The company has already been registered with the public registry. Document shows that the company was registered by Nato Haindrava, chairwoman of the supervisory board of Cartu Bank, under a power of attorney issued by Khvedelidze. On December 31st, Bidzina Ivanishvili's son, Uta Ivanishvili, registered a company called Atu Holding in Georgia. The Cartu Group, Cartu Fund, and Cartu Bank, previously owned by Uta Ivanishvili through offshore entities, were likely transferred under umbrella of this Georgian legal entity. Bidzina Ivanishvili himself is also transferring his assets, having re-registered companies previously listed under the Panamanian offshore Limestone Finance International to Georgian joint stock company Terra. A Georgian-Russian business association has been established in Georgia, led by businessman Zaza Nishnianidze. Nishnianidze confirmed this to BMG on January 24th, stating that the main goal of the association is to assist entrepreneurs engaged in exports to Russia. He mentioned that approximately 60 companies, primarily winemakers, attended the association's meeting. Nishnianidze also named a few members. When asked about the new business association, First Deputy Prime Minister, Economy Minister Davitashvili said he was unaware of its information but commented on trade and economic relations with Russia, noting that any organization supporting the development of these relations is welcome. The Treasury of the Ministry of Finance has published the 2024 Budget Performance Report, which shows that the government collected 20,200 million Georgian lari in taxes over the past year. This met 400% of the revised tax revenue target for December 2024. In 2024, Georgia's export volume reached 6.5 billion. It's a 7.8 increase compared to 2023. We are talking about the export volume of Georgia. The main contributors to this growth were exports of light vehicles, ferroalloys, and alcoholic beverages, which significantly exceeded the previous year's figures. Additionally, there was a notable increase in the export of precious metal ores and concentrates. During the past work week, the Georgian lari depreciated against major currencies compared to the previous Friday. The lari depreciated by 4.2 tetri against the US dollars, with the exchange rate reaching 2.88 Georgian lari per dollar. Against the euro, the lari depreciated by 9.7 tetri, resulting in an exchange rate of 3 lari per euro. The lari also fell by 11.6 tetri against the British pound, with the exchange rate standing at 3.5 Georgian lari per pound. This is The Checkpoints with Elena Kvangelashvili. Please follow us on BMG.
This is The Checkpoints. I'm Elena Guangilashvili, author and the host of the show, and the Checkpoints team is ready to sum up Business and Economics Week for you. The Ministry of Finance of Georgia has submitted the Economic Reform Program 2025-2027 to the European Commission for the second time, meeting the planned deadline set by the Government of Georgia Decree number 31 of January 15, 2025. The Ministry emphasized that as a candidate country for the European Union, Georgia joined the process of preparing the Economic Reform Program at the end of 2023 after being granted candidate status. This document, developed according to the European Commission's approved methodology, outlines the medium-term framework for macroeconomic and fiscal parameters. Georgia's preparation process is largely based on the medium-term planning objectives outlined in the Basic Data and Directions document, BDD document, which in its section on structural reforms aligns with the country's strategic development framework, Vision 2030, Georgian Development Strategy. The Economic Reform Program 2025-2027 also reflects the progress made on the recommendations issued to candidate countries under the joint conclusions adopted by the European Commission on May 14, 2024, following the assessment of Georgia's first Economic Reform Program 2024-2026 document. The first 4 chapters of the program cover macro-fiscal parameters and public finance management, while the 5th chapter focuses on structural reforms. The analysis of the macro-fiscal section was based on the 2025 budget and the country's key data and directions for 2025-2028. The structural reforms section was prepared in line with the Vision 2030 Georgia Development Strategy and its annual action plans, the Ministry of Finance stated. GD Economy Minister Levan Davitashvili declares that if the Georgian government is not interested in the IMF new program's conditions, then the government will not sign the new one. The 3-year, 289 million USD standby arrangement SBA agreed June 2022 has been on hold since June 2023 after a push to amend legislation to change the management structure at the central bank raised questions over its independence. SBAs provide short-term financial assistance to countries facing balance of payments problems. As of Reuters, Georgia is aiming for a new program with the International Monetary Fund and hopes to meet with the lender in February. According to Levan Davitashvili, the government will agree to the fund's conditions only if these terms are acceptable to the government. The statement of GD Economy Minister indicates that the government does not show willingness to live up to past commitments, including the consideration of IMF suggested reforms in the loan state-owned enterprises, which was provided by the IMF's previous program. The program is mutually beneficial for both parties. If this is not interesting to us, then of course we will continue our activities without the program. We're open to this dialogue. The old program is not a separate topic. We take it with maximum responsibility. If we agree on a new program with the IMF, it must be in line with our economic interests. We're open and ready, and we are interested. We will have meetings in February, and it will be decided whether they will come or we will work remotely. We'll share the results with you depending on how the project turns out, Levan Davitashvili said in response to a question from BMG. The IMF-supported program originally included a 3-year standby arrangement with a loan of 289 million USD. After the completion of the first tranche of 40 million, Georgia was due to receive the second tranche in 2023, but the IMF postponed the submission and board approval of the second review of Georgia's standby arrangement, stating that the delay in board approval was partly due to disagreement over a change in the NBG's management structure. As for the change in NBG's management structure, the changes went through after Parliament expedited the adoption of draft amendments to the organic law on the National Bank of Georgia on February 9, 2023. However, President Salome Zurabishvili vetoed the amendments on February 23, citing concerns that they might undermine the bank's independence. On June 20th, the Parliament overrode the President's veto and approved the amendments. Consequently, Natia Turnava was elected the first Vice President of the National Bank of Georgia by the NBG's Board of Directors on June 22, 2023. This is what the IMF stated in an exclusive interview with the Checkpoints right after the elections. My question is about the program itself. I understand that the program is still suspended, but I want to check what it means in essence. Is there any structural reform work still going on with Georgia's authorities and with NBG for that matter? And how is the IMF involved with Georgia's authorities and the NBG? And what is the perspective of the program looking forward from this standpoint?
Well, as you know, the program has been on hold since June 2023, and it is expected to expire in June 2025. Issues that led to that are, in fact, important elements that will help anchor credibility and stability of policies, in particular to safeguard the role of the National Bank of Georgia, the central bank, and preserve its independence. The discussions regarding the nature of the fund engagement with Georgia will resume as a new government is in place. Of course, Georgia economic performance remained robust, and growth in 2024 was strong and broad-based. However, the outlook is subject to still significant uncertainty. Externally, the main source is related to the war in Ukraine and commodity price volatilities. Domestically, the key risk or the key issue is to preserve internal economic stability. Strengthening the governance of the National Bank of Georgia and its independence is paramount. This is also important to safeguard and strengthen the credibility of the monetary policy and the macro financial stability, especially that the level of foreign reserves have remain lower than desired, and that because it fall below the IMF adequacy metric. Therefore, rebuilding this level of reserves of foreign currencies as market conditions allow, limiting the interventions in the forex market will help avoid any disorderly market conditions.
My follow-up question is on the structural reform side. Is there any work going on in that direction? Because there were very important structural reforms on the table when the standby agreement was negotiated and finally signed from the government. So is there any oversight work or any work going on in that direction?
Well, Eleni, the fund is providing technical assistance to the authorities in Georgia to help them implement some of the key reforms. The one that you are referring to is the reform of the SOEs. And this was one of the issues that has led to the suspension of the program. We believe reforming of the SOEs will increase macroeconomic stability and reduce any fiscal risks, but also will be an important feature to preserve a comfortable level of growth over the medium term and address the opportunities of leveling the playing field between public and private sector. Therefore, we still consider that Georgia's economy and the performance of the Georgian economy in the medium term will hinge on the capacity of the authorities to accelerate the reform of the SOEs and to provide for the private sector the right investment and business environment.
How does the economy react to the current situation in our short overview?
We're offering the American side a concrete roadmap to restart strategic partnership between Georgia and the US from a clean slate. If there is the same interest from America, relationships will certainly reboot it, Prime Minister Irakli Kobakhidze said. According to Kobakhidze, Georgian side awaits the position of US President's administration. We cannot discuss internal matters from our perspective. The key point is our complete readiness to reset Georgian-American relations. Furthermore, we propose that the American side rekindle our strategic partnership with a specific roadmap that starts from a clean slate. If there is a similar interest from the United States, then of course relationships will be rebooted. We are awaiting the position of President's administration, Kobakhidze stated. When your employee's contract is about to expire, you decide whether you need them or if they are fulfilling their job duties at appropriate level, said the Tbilisi mayor in a conversation with the media addressing the issue of employees who have been dismissed from Tbilisi City Hall. As Kakhakaladze noted, it's nonsensical to claim employees are being dismissed for political reasons since people with different political views currently work in the mayor's office. It's completely absurd to suggest we are dismissing employees politically. We have begun reorganization in the City Hall and more people who are not fulfilling their duties and responsibilities will be fired. Some employees' contracts have simply expired. Leadership makes decisions based on whether an employee is needed and performs at a satisfactory level. I can provide many examples of people who had or still have different political views, even signed petitions, yet continue working normally in Tbilisi City Hall, Kaladze said. In Q4 2024, the residential property price index in Georgia increased by 5.2% compared to the previous quarter, while the annual increase amounted to 10.4%, according to the National Statistics Office of Georgia. As of the document, the index change amounted to 54.3% compared to the 2020 average. The residential property price index covers the market of new residential property in Tbilisi, both flats and detached house segments. In the first quarter of 2024, a price increase compared to the previous quarter was registered both in flats and detached houses. In the case of flats, it had amounted to 4.7%, while in the case of detached houses, 6.7%. Compared to the Q4 2020, the prices increased in both segments for flats by 9.8% and for detached houses by 12.3%. Georgian Vice Prime Minister and Minister of Economy and Sustainable Development Levan Davitashvili explains why Georgia is not participating in Davos Economic Forum. At a press conference held at government administration, Davitashvili did not confirm the information Georgia hadn't been invited and said that participation in forum was usually the government's decision and this year it was not priority. The government delegation does not participate in Davos Economic Forum because it may not be a priority. Every time we participated, it was our decision and we attended the forum. This year it may not be as productive as possible and this year we may have a different priority given the current situation. We continue to dialogue and communicate with investors in a continuous mode. The media will also be informed about this. We will have positive information on investment decisions, so this process does not stop, Davitashvili said. The Davos Economic Forum was held between January 20 and 24. Kakhakaladze announced that Tbilisi City Hall has increased one-time financial assistance to 10,000 lari for citizens aged 100 and older. He remarked that in 2004, 57 elderly individuals received financial assistance of 1,000 lari, among whom 23 turned 100 and 34 were 101 and older. City Hall always awarded citizens aged 100 and older with 1,000 lari. We have decided that the award will will increase tenfold and will be 10,000 lari for those who will turn 100 and older. Last year, 57 people received one-time financial assistance. I would like to wish these people, first of all, good health and long life. To receive the award, the citizen or his representative must apply to the City Hall's Health and Social Service with an application. The application must be accompanied by an identity card of a citizen who has reached the age of 100, an information card issued by civil registry confirming continuous registration in Tbilisi for the past year. Those elderly people who have already benefited from the aforementioned program before 2025 will no longer have to apply, said Kakhakaladze. In 2024, Georgia bought more than 1.2 billion kilowatt hours of electricity. Of these, 969 million kilowatt hours came from Russia, while 186 million kilowatt hour from Azerbaijan and 73 million kilowatt hour from America. Of the imported electricity, 480 million kilowatt hour was consumed by the occupied regions of Abkhazia. The country bought the most electricity last December. The country paid a total of $25 million for electricity imports this year. Electricity worth $12.4 million was imported directly from Russia and almost $11 million from Azerbaijan. As for other indicators, last year the country generated 14.2 billion kilowatt hour of electricity, of which 11.3 billion kilowatt electricity was generated by hydropower plants and almost 3 billion by thermal power plants. Consumption has traditionally exceeded production, and in 2024 the country consumed more than 15 billion kilowatt hour of electricity. Three transportation companies, Georgian Bus, Omnibus Express and Metro Georgia, will facilitate passenger transfer to Kutaisi International Airport. According to Levent Tkhaladze, project manager of United Airports of Georgia, Metro Georgia has recently fulfilled the service requirements and has already commenced operations. Seemingly, both Georgian Bus, Omnibus Express will transport passengers to Kutaisi from Tbilisi and Batumi. Metro Georgia's buses fully comply with modern European standards. They are equipped with state-of-the-art technology and designed to ensure the utmost safety and comfort for passengers, he stated. Tickets are available at metrogeorgia.g.
On January 23, the Tbilisi City Court held a trial of Giorgi Bachiashvili, the former head of Bidzina Ivanishvili's co-investment fund. During a court hearing, Bachiashvili alleged that Ivanishvili had sent a mediator to deliver a letter demanding monthly payments in cryptocurrency in exchange for the end of the criminal prosecution. According to Bachiashvili, in the case of refusal, this amount would increase by 500 bitcoins per month. Giorgi Bachiashvili spoke about this with David Pirveli after the end of the trial in the city court. As of now, the value of 5,000 bitcoins equals USD 511 million. Ivanishvili continues to extort money. This is extortion when a person is asked to pay a large sum of money under the threat of criminal liability. He demanded me to pay 5,000 bitcoins in the fall of 2023, and if I refused to do this, the amount would increase by 500 bitcoins per month. Of course, I did not agree and would not agree under any circumstances. His representative sent this offer to my lawyer by phone, Bachiashvili said. The charges against Giorgi Bachiashvili relate to actions taken in 2017. Specifically, according to the prosecutor's office, Bachiashvili gave only $536,900 to an investor in exchange for the total profit made from their investment, while unlawfully appropriating the remaining 8,986 bitcoins, which were worth up to $43 million at the time. Giorgi Bachiashvili does not consider himself guilty of the charges. The case against Bachiashvili involves charges of misappropriating a large amount of cryptocurrency and laundering illegal income, carrying a potential sentence of 9 to 12 years in prison. What was new in business this week? Natia Taktakishvili has more.
The business should express its position. This is how businessman Temur Chogania addressed those businessmen who didn't attend the conference organized by freebusiness.g. I would like to tell the businessmen who did not come here today that their position should be expressed. The state exists based on our intelligence, hard work and technology. So you are the walls of the state. If they use our work, God bless them. If they don't use it, I don't know how to continue, said Temur Chonia. He also noted that the government should answer the questions of business because budget is filled with the taxes they pay. Our goal is to demand answers from the government. What do we pay money for? All my companies pay 320 million in the budget, and why I don't have the right to ask? We don't know what kind of structure is in the country. We should nod the head to everything. If we don't, then we are traitors to the country, Chonia said. Businessman and founder of the platform FreeBusiness.G, Giorgi Chugashvili, assesses the ongoing processes in the country and notes that if the political escalation continues in Q2, it will have a significant impact on the economy. According to him, the forecasts shared by economists at the first conference of free business also show that the situation is unfavorable. This was a professional meeting where the signatories of the free business platform and other companies were invited. The meeting turned out very professional. Economists from several different companies presented their calculations, so we are alarming situation and the forecasts are not favorable. If the political escalation continues even without new sanctions, it will lead us to a very difficult economic situation, and if sanctions and isolation are added, it will show us an even more difficult picture, Chugashvili said. Speaking about future plans, the founder of Free Business notes that their goal is to inform businessmen who don't yet see the scale of the economic crisis. We know our action plan. We need to explain all this to companies that aren't yet connected to the free business platform. We need to show as many people as possible that a real economic crisis awaits us in a few months. Until now, free business platform was an initiative. Now, if the platform wants to do projects in the long term and work around some values, then it needs to take some form, but our signatories must decide all this, Giorgi Chugashvili said. Svet Chumburidze, Secretary General of EU-Georgia Business Council, declares that the situation in Georgia is extremely difficult and the business feels it well. Svet Chumburidze hopes that Georgian Dream government will make a timely decision. The Secretary General of EU-Georgia Business Council sees new elections and the release of detainees as the way out of the political crisis. Today, Georgia is facing two big challenges: illegitimate government and sanctions. Politics and the economy are two important life-giving parts of one body, so we particularly have the most difficult picture in the country, which the business feels well. The danger is great. Sanctions will knock everything off if the government does not act in time, said Svet Chumburidze. In addition, the Secretary General of EU-Georgia Business Council did not rule out that foreign investors in Georgia may decide to relocate their investments. We must understand that when the territories of country are occupied, an investor comes to your country with caution because he thinks that what the complications of the occupation may entail. But when an unorganized government is added to this reality, which does not have relations with strategic partners, more problems arise, and this further worsens the situation, said Svet Chumburidze. Surab Lalazashvili, managing partner of BDO, declares that a decrease in income is already being recorded in various sectors due to the ongoing events in the country. As he states in an interview with BMDG, the decrease is especially noticeable in the areas that don't produce primary consumption products or services. Decrease is especially noticeable in real estate sector as well as other sectors, including trade and services. The decrease will become even more obvious in those sectors which are essential consumption. The decrease in tourism additionally affects the inflow of foreign currency, and if all this continues, this will inevitably lead to an economic and social crisis, Lalazashvili said. According to him, the only way out of the current political crisis is to fulfill the demands set by the FreeBusiness.G signatory companies. All types of crises need to be de-escalated. When we joined FreeBusiness.G, we considered new elections as the only way to de-escalate the crisis. Until now, we have not heard any alternative option from anyone. Such meetings help to create the possibility of alternative options. However, my personal opinion remains that the only way to de-escalate this type of crisis is elections, Lala Jazashvili said. Store chain Gazprom responded with a statement to the targeted attack to discredit the company's name. The statement reads that the brand has been operating with the highest standards since its inception. This information was spread, which aims to discredit the Gazprom name. It's a targeted attack on our company. Since its inception, our company has been distinguished by the high standards of products and services that we offer to our customers regardless of political or other views. This is confirmed by the fact that despite the protest events taking place in the country over the past year, not once has our employees shown aggression towards any customer with a different political view. Gazprom firmly continues to move forward on the path it chose upon its founding to implement the highest standards and offer other only best experience to our customers, the statement reads. Nicolas Shekriladze, General Manager of tourist facility Villa Musavali, located in the village of Akhalubani near Tbilisi, states that tourist flows have decreased by over 15% compared to the same period last year. According to Giorgi Shekriladze, despite the reduced flows, the tourist facility is actively visited by local tourists, as well as representatives of European and post-Soviet countries. In addition, there are tourist flows from Russia as well. Accommodation price per night in a standard room for 2 persons amounts to 170 lari. In general, during this period, the conference section is quite busy, but almost all conferences have been cancelled in the last quarter. Given the situation, we don't have any new bookings. Considering the cancellation of reservations by our international and local partners, we don't have positive expectations at this stage, Shekriladze noted. According to him, the tourist facility employs 70 people. Despite the current crisis, the company has not changed its personnel policy or reduced the staff. Wine Hub Sadzwele is experiencing a 20% decrease in activity. The company's director, Georgi Samanishvili, spoke about this. The multifunctional wine hub combines a wine school, wine cellar, a wine bar, conference, and tasting spaces. The facility currently employs 14 people. According to the director of the facility, Sadzwele consists of 3 floors, of which 2 floors are wine cellars. Samanishvili adds that along with the increase in awareness, the demand for their facility is increasing, especially for foreigners who want to taste wine in the capital city of Tbilisi. The facility consists of 3 floors, of which 2 floors are wine cellars. On the 2nd floor, there is now a theater exhibition and cultural space. Therefore, we decided to dedicate the 1st floor to the wine school, a space for wine events. Space offers about 200 types of wines. Awareness is gradually growing and the number of customers is also increasing. The tasting space can accommodate about 80 people, and during events it's possible to host several hundred people. As for the training space, it can accommodate 24 people. The events taking place in the country had a great impact on us. We have a decrease in activity of about 20%, but given that we are newly opened and turnover was not high, the decrease is that we have not been able to grow as much as we had expected, said the director of Multifunctional Wine Hub Sadzwele. Last year, when the situation in the country was calm, we had more activity. Lina Kaldani, head of brand development and communications at the perfume store chain Istiparis told BMDG, according to her, the ongoing events in the country have made it difficult for the company to fulfill its sales plan, and Naturally, there is a decrease in sales compared to last year. Due to the current situation in the country, it was a little difficult for us to fulfill the previous year's plan. Although the situation is not critical, but of course there is a difference compared to the previous year. I can say that we have an average sales figures. Last year there was much greater activity when the situation in the country was calm. The company's expectations are optimistic. We offered our customers special promotions before the new year to make it easier to buy gifts. However, it still depends on general background of and if the people will be in a good mood, Kaldani said. Georgian spice, pickles, jams and sauces manufacturing company Ojakhori plans to maintain its current share in the Georgian market and increase it by 10%. Salome Neparidze, marketing and public relations manager of Ojakhori, stated this to BMG while talking about the company's plans for 2025. According to her, current events in the country, which have been going on for more than a month, have not affected their enterprise, including in the direction of export markets. Neparidze adds that in 2025, it's planned to further develop exporting markets for which the company plans to purchase new equipment. In 2025, we want to further develop exports because the demand is very high. In the local market, we want to maintain our current share and increase it by about 10%. There is also great interest in the export direction. Accordingly, we are going to purchase equipment to increase productivity and simplify the production processes, Neparidze said. The company Ojakhori has been on the market for 14 years and currently produces about 90 types of spices. In addition, the company actively produces marinades, sauces and jams, which are sold both in local and international markets. The prices of Ojakhori products start from 2 lari and ranges up to 6 lari.
Our focus on a specific business. Selfie Mobile, a Georgian mobile operator, and Vodafone Group announced a new non-branded partnership agreement. As part of the agreement, Selfie Mobile will look to expand its services to offer a more comprehensive digital experience for its customers, leveraging Vodafone's expertise and advisory services. BMG's Business Evening host Georgi Aronia discussed the partnership with Johannes Hammer, Vodafone's regional head of Middle East, Africa, Caucasus and Central Asia. For details, let's watch the interview.
Johannes, hi. Thank you very much for your time. The reason of us being here at the museum is that today Selfie announced a partnership with Vodafone, which is a big step forward for the Georgian market. Could you please share the scope and objectives of this partnership?
So first of all, thanks a lot for having me and us here. I like the museum. I'm very impressed by Georgia, and we have indeed signed a partnership late last year, and we are selecting a partner in many countries at the moment because we believe that strategic partnerships in our industry are key. And our objective is to bring the purpose of Vodafone, which is around sustainability and inclusion, to all markets where we are operating or partnering. And we are looking forward to bring our solutions, our digital approach and other capabilities to the Georgian market. We see Selfie as a very innovative, very young and dynamic team. And I think it will be an absolutely great way of working together over the coming years.
How did the partnership came together, and why did you choose Selfie as your local partner here in Georgia?
We looked at the market here, and we spoke with some of the operators, and Selfie is a very innovative team of young, dynamic people, and we see it as a very good fit with us.
So you decided to partner with Selfie. What was the main objective and decision behind this strategic goal?
As I mentioned earlier, we see a very innovative, young, dynamic team. Selfie was previously already in a big group, and I think what we are doing with our partner markets model is we are bringing single operators across the globe together and are helping them with services as if they were part of a big group, which Vodafone indeed is. And therefore we can bring all the expertise, scale, and innovation that a single market might not be able to develop themselves into a market. And I think that's the purpose also of such partnerships.
What is the concrete scope of the partnership? What are you planning to do together? Is it customer support? Is it operational efficiency, network efficiency? What it is?
So I like your question because you already put some of the bullet points out. And obviously it wouldn't be super smart to give you all the details of the partnership over the next years. But as you rightly put it out, it's about customer care, it's about innovation. Vodafone believes that connecting people and enhancing the industry is very, very key. Looking at the Georgian market, you have a very young population. You have a lot of smartphone penetration. People like to use and test new stuff. And I think this is something where Vodafone, together with the partner here in Georgia, will have a lot of fun. And looking at the Selfie's capabilities, I think it's a perfect fit. I think you have maybe heard that we are, for example, launching the partnership already with a loyalty platform, which we will actually launch today, which is called Happy Platform, and it is innovation that is pretty unique also for us because it's the first partner market that launches this loyalty platform.
According to the official press release of the partnership, you, together with Selfie, will introduce new digital services that will be tailored to customers' needs. Could you briefly explain what should Georgian customers expect in the near future?
The near future starts today because, as I just mentioned, we are bringing a loyalty platform into the market and looking at customer care, customer journeys, as you rightly mentioned, a few other bullet points around IoT and other services. I think we will simply bring some good global best practice into this market, which should also benefit the people here in Georgia as well as the market.
The partnership between Vodafone and Selfie is a very important step for the country as well, because it means that a huge company such as Vodafone is partnering with Georgian company, which is obviously a good sign for everyone. I'd like to ask you the question about Georgia. You know, how ripe do you think the Georgian telecommunication sector is for innovation in general, and what are the main challenges that Georgia faces today?
First of all, that's a very humbling compliment. Thank you very much. I think looking at the sector, it is a sector with three main players. It is a sector that is very innovative. Challenge of the sector is a challenge we see across many countries, which is cost pressure. Efficiency is an absolute must. And obviously, while people are very hungry and keen on innovative solutions, it is always a healthy balance to the being affordable part of such products and services. So I think balancing innovation with what people can and won't afford is always a trick.
And lastly, how does the partnership with Selfie align with Vodafone's general values and goals, and also Vodafone's goals within the region that you cover, which also includes Caucasus?
So Vodafone's purpose is sustainability and inclusion. And looking at this region and the wider region, I think we are moving towards this direction. It's getting more and more important to be sustainable. Our sector is a very energy-consuming sector, so per definition, it is absolutely key to focus on sustainability and work on efficiency to reduce the energy consumption and other things. If you look at inclusion, this is a topic that is also very key in society today, and I think looking at Selfie, Selfie is a role model in this. So I think it's a perfect fit for Georgia and also for the wider region.
Johannes, thank you very much for the interview and good luck with the partnership.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We want to see the right to protest and freedom of expression to be protected in Georgia. That is the objective of those sanctions. I won't comment on future sanctions, stated Gareth Ward, the British ambassador to Georgia. The ambassador was responding to a question about the possibility of sanctions being imposed on Bidzina Ivanishvili, the honorary chairman of Georgian Dream. We don't comment in advance on sanctions. What do you know is that the UK did already announce sanctions relating to human rights violations on a number of Georgian officials, and the key thing is that we want to see the right to protest and freedom of expression to be protected in Georgia. That is the objective of those sanctions. I won't comment on future sanctions, Ambassador Ward emphasized. The British ambassador stated that Britain may consider resuming suspended programs once Georgia's democratic environment improves. Our foreign secretary has been very clear. He said that we would stop funding programs in support of the Georgian government and that we would restrict our defense and political contacts until democratic backsliding is stopped in Georgia. So that's the position that we announced in December, and that remains our position. As I mentioned, we have restricted our programming work, and that means that there are some programs that we are no longer funding. This is a measure that we have taken until we see improvements in the democratic environment in Georgia, and when those improvements come, that's when we will be able to think about re-engaging on our programs. I'm not going to speculate on the Georgian Dream's motivations. All I can say is that the UK wants Georgia to stay on the Euro-Atlantic path, Gareth Ward added. And that's all for today. We will meet next Sunday, but before that, check us out on BMG TV and bm.g for more information on business and economics in Georgia, in the region and beyond.
The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.